I'm Bob and I am a Curriculum Officer here at the SACE Board of South Australia. The Folio is assessment type 1 of the research project. The Folio is a collection of evidence against 6 specific features that shows all of the planning and development that a student went through when completing their research project. The Folio is weighted at 30% and is moderated after the teacher has marked it. For the purposes of moderation, students submit evidence in their folio against the 6 specific features. Now that evidence is limited to, as shown in the operational information on page 4, 10 A4 pages or 20 minutes of multimodal evidence or a combination of the two. 1 page of A4 is the equivalent of 2 minutes of multimodal evidence. In that evidence, that can be in any form that the student likes that demonstrates their performance against the 6 specific features. These 10 pages are representative of all of the planning and development that a student has undertaken whilst they're doing the research project. When students are undertaking the research project, students will propose to investigate a research question. They will also have discussions with their teachers about their progress as they're going along. Those two activities may provide significant evidence for the folio, but they are not required to be submitted as part of the folio. In 2014, there was a major change to the research project, whereby students were asked to define a research question that they are planning to answer. This question then forms the basis of their activities as they progress through the research project. The question that students choose to undertake for their research project is vital to their success. The question that the student chooses needs to be very specific. It needs to outline exactly what the student is trying to answer. It needs to be open so that the student has a chance to explore different perspectives, to explore different areas within the discipline that they may be considering. The student also needs to consider whether or not the question is actually researchable and is of a Year 12 standard. If the student doesn't have the opportunity to actually be insightful with the information that they're discovering and their findings and their learnings, they will struggle to get high achievement for the research project. The last consideration has to be, if they have a researchable question, is it actually manageable within the timeframes given and the resources that they have available to be able to respond to the question. That consideration is very important because it becomes part of their evidence in their folio of P2, their planning. Have they actually developed a plan that will allow them to answer the question given the constraints of the time frame and the evidence that needs to be presented? The 6 specific features that are assessed in the folio cover students planning their research project and then their development as they're undertaking the research processes. So students are required to provide evidence of the refinement of their research question and then the planning that they undertook to determine which research processes would best answer that question. Students then also provide evidence of their development as they've gone through the research processes, their analysis from the information that they gain from those research processes, the skills that they developed whilst they were undertaking the research processes, and their capabilities that were developed whilst they were doing them as well. The capabilities are the Australian curriculum capabilities. There are 7 of them and their descriptions are inside the subject outline for both Research Project A and Research Project B. Evidence of the student's capability development should be within the folio and not in any other assessment types. To familiarise yourself now with the standards that are applied in the research project, please take a moment to read through and familiarise yourself with the sample folio that's given.